In the shadows where truth and tales intertwine, we find the thrilling, the chilling, the downright spine-tingling. From the paranormal to the peculiar, every echo has a story. Dare to delve into the unexpected, the unexplained? Brace yourself, for you're about to embark on a journey where fear meets fascination. Stay tuned if you dare, for stories that will make your heart race and your mind ponder. Welcome to the realm of the eerie, the realm of the unknown. And remember, like and subscribe, if you dare. The wilderness has a way of making you feel insignificant, like a small speck in the grand scheme of things. The vast, untamed wilderness is our setting, a place where 5 men find themselves on a moose hunting expedition. Among them is Simpson, a man of adventure, accompanied by his uncle, Dr. Cathcart, a man of science. Alongside them are their guides, Hank Davis, a seasoned woodsman, and Joseph Defago, a wilderness-loving French Canuck with an intimate knowledge of the land. The 5th man, an Indian cook named Punk, remains behind to tend their main camp, while our party ventures further into the wild. Simpson and Defago journey in a canoe down the river, reaching out into the vast territory beyond, while Dr. Cathcart and Hank pursue their own path. As they set up camp, Simpson notices Defago's affinity for the wilderness, his senses keen and attuned to the subtle nuances of the wilderness. It's as if the wilderness speaks to him, whispers its secrets in his ear. But as the day wanes, a shift occurs. Defago, once so at ease in the wild, begins to grow uneasy. His eyes dart to and fro, his nostrils flare, and his skin breaks out in a cold sweat. It's as if he senses something that Simpson can't perceive. Defago's unease is palpable. It hangs in the air, thick and heavy like the brewing storm clouds overhead. Simpson watches his comrade, concern creasing his brow. He's seen fear before, but this is different. This is a primal fear, a fear that speaks of something ancient, something that lurks in the shadows of the forest, something that howls with the wind. As the sun sets, casting long, eerie shadows across their camp, a strange and fearful odor fills the air. It's an odor that chills the blood and freezes the heart, an odor that speaks of something unnatural, something not of this world. Defago's eyes widen in terror, his body trembles, and his lips move in a silent prayer. As the sun set, a strange and fearful odor filled the air, unsettling Defago. The wilderness calls, and something answers. In the dead of night, fear can take on a life of its own. It was a night like any other in the vast wilderness, the moon casting long, ominous shadows and the wind whispering secrets to the trees. But within the confines of their makeshift camp, a different story was unfolding. Defago, normally a robust and jovial character, was a shadow of his former self. He was cowering, his eyes wide and unblinking, as if he had seen something that had shaken him to his very core. The air was thick with a fear that was palpable, a fear that seemed to seep into every nook and cranny, every crack in the tent, every rustle of the leaves. Defago was muttering to himself, words that were lost in the gusts of wind, but his terror was clear. And then, as sudden as a flash of lightning, he was gone. Disappeared into the wilderness, leaving behind nothing but the chilling echo of his fear. Simpson was left with a decision: to stay in the relative safety of the camp, or to venture into the unknown in search of his companion. His heart pounded in his chest, but he knew what he had to do. He grabbed a lantern, its feeble light barely piercing the inky blackness, and set out into the night. The wilderness was a labyrinth of shadows and sounds, each one more unsettling than the last. The crunch of snow beneath his boots seemed deafening in the silence, his breath fogging up in the frigid air. He followed Defago's tracks, a lifeline in an ocean of white, leading him deeper and deeper into the unknown. But as he trudged on, the tracks began to change. They became distorted, as if something other than a man had made them. The realization sent a chill down Simpson's spine, more potent than the biting cold. And then, the tracks vanished, just as Defago had. As the sun rose, Simpson found himself alone, with only the eerie silence of the wilderness for company. The wilderness holds many secrets, some more terrifying than others. In the pristine white snow, Simpson stumbles upon a sight that sends a shiver down his spine. A set of footprints, fresh and eerily distinct, etched deeply into the frosty canvas. They belonged to Defago, his hunting partner, who had mysteriously disappeared into the night. But there's another set of tracks, larger and far from human. A monstrous impression, each step a grotesque mockery of the human form. Simpson feels an icy dread creep into his heart. The wilderness watches silently as he follows the trail, his every breath echoing in the frozen silence. As he traces the path, an uncanny transformation unfolds before his eyes. Defago's footprints, once human, begin to morph, taking on the hideous form of the larger set. The lines between man and beast blur, a chilling testament to a terror too profound to comprehend. The tracks snake their way through the wilderness, a haunting path that leads deeper into the heart of the forest. But then, abruptly, they vanish. The wilderness swallows them whole, leaving behind an expanse of untouched snow. And then, from the abyss of the silent sky, a voice echoes. It's distant, faint, but unmistakably Defago's. His cries ripple through the cold air, a haunting serenade that seems to come from everywhere and nowhere. The wilderness listens, its icy breath held in anticipation. But the voice fades, swallowed by the vast expanse above, leaving behind a chilling silence. Simpson stands alone, surrounded by the infinite wilderness, the echoes of Defago's voice still ringing in his ears. The wilderness had swallowed Defago, leaving only traces of his existence behind. But the haunting tracks remain, a chilling reminder of the terror that lurks in the heart of the wilderness, waiting to be unleashed. When the wilderness gives back, it's not always a blessing. Picture this: a sigh of relief as Simpson, Dr. Cathcart, and Hank return to the main camp, only to find it eerily quiet. The camp, once filled with laughter and camaraderie, now held a chilling silence. The fire flickered, casting long, ominous shadows on the canvas of their tents. Their hearts pounded in their chests as they surveyed the scene. Suddenly, from the darkness emerged a figure. It was Defago, but not as they remembered him. His once vibrant eyes were now hollow, his robust frame reduced to a skeletal silhouette. Frostbite had claimed his extremities, and his lips were cracked from dehydration. He was a specter of the man they knew, his spirit seemingly consumed by the wilderness he so loved. His return, however, was far from a joyous reunion. Defago was delirious, mumbling incoherent phrases, his eyes darting around as if haunted by unseen horrors. Despite their best efforts, he succumbed to his condition, leaving behind a chilling silence that echoed through the camp. The wilderness had given back, but it had taken far more than it returned. Their comrade's death left Dr. Cathcart, Hank, and Simpson in a state of profound confusion and fear. They were haunted by the transformation they had witnessed, from the robust woodsman to the frail figure that returned. What could have happened out there in the wilderness that could cause such a drastic change? And what about those terrifying tracks Simpson had followed, the eerie voice he heard echoing in the wind? Their questions remained unanswered, the wilderness keeping its secrets close. Only Punk, the Indian cook, could have shed light on their bewilderment. But he was long gone, having fled at the first whiff of the ghastly odor that clung to Defago. His departure left a void, a missing piece in the puzzle of their terrifying ordeal. They were left with a mystery that only the wilderness could solve. Left with the specter of Defago's demise, the chilling echo of the wilderness, and a haunting question: what truly lurks in the heart of the wild? There are tales that are passed down through generations, tales that are more than just stories. They are warnings etched into the fabric of our collective memory, shadows lurking in the corners of our fears. One such tale is that of the Wendigo, a creature of legend, a spirit of the harsh winter wilderness. The Wendigo is said to be a tall, gaunt figure, its body stretched thin by starvation. Its eyes, they say, glow like two burning embers in the darkness, a haunting sight that strikes terror into the hearts of those who dare cross its path. But it is not just the sight of the Wendigo that chills the blood. It is its insatiable hunger, a hunger for human flesh, a hunger that once consumed a man, turning him into the very monster he feared. It is said that the Wendigo was once a human being, driven to the brink of despair by the harsh winter months. Forced to resort to cannibalism to survive, he fell victim to the Wendigo spirit that lurked in the biting cold, becoming a living embodiment of greed and excess. The Wendigo, they say, has powers beyond our understanding. It can command the weather, summoning fierce storms at will. It can mimic human voices, luring its victims deeper into the wilderness, into its icy grasp. And anyone who hears the Wendigo's call, they say, is doomed to a terrible fate. As we reflect on the strange events of that fateful hunting trip, the fearful odor on the wind, the metamorphosing footprints, the eerie voice echoing from the sky, it all points to the presence of the Wendigo. Defago, it seems, had come face to face with this terrifying creature, had heard its deadly song, and had paid the ultimate price. In the end, it was not the wilderness that had called them, but the Wendigo, whispering its deadly song into the wind. And so, our tale of the Campfire Horrors comes to an end. Until next time, sleep tight. Before we part ways, dear viewers, remember to stay vigilant. The Campfire Horrors may have been extinguished for now, but the embers of the unknown always remain. As you lay down to sleep tonight, don't forget the lessons from our tale. Safety is but a fleeting moment in a world of unseen. So, if you've enjoyed this journey into the abyss, don't forget to ring that bell and smash that like button. Do it before the thing under your bed decides to pay you a visit. Oh, and keep those night lights on. You never know what might be lurking in the dark. Thank you for embarking on this terrifying adventure with us. Until our paths cross again in another tale of the unknown. Goodbye and sweet dreams, if you can.